In this video, I'm going to break down how Mariners prospect Logan Evans went from sitting 93 to sitting 95 and pulling down 104 in just 5 weeks of doing this posture therapy program. When Logan first entered the program, he was dealing with a lot of low back pain, particularly on his left side, and a big discrepancy in his glute strength from left to right. He was also dealing with some limited shoulder mobility and T-spine extension. So these were all things that we needed to look at and get down to the root cause of why are these things here. So a little bit about Logan before we get into his posture and the analysis of that. Logan was a 12th round draft pick by the Mariners out of Pitt. When he was in college, he was sitting 91 to 94. At the end of his first minor league season last year, he was sitting 92 to 94. But his goal for this offseason was to really not go below that 94 mark. He wanted to sit 94 and above and get some better spin on his pitches, which he knew that he was able to do because he was throwing a little bit more effectively in college from his point of view than he was in his first season in the minors. So taking all these different things into account, doing a couple of movement screens, getting an idea of where he's most limited, build a customized plan for him and his body so that he's able to see the results that he's looking for. And it happened in just 5 weeks for him. He went from sitting 93 to sitting 95. And that's a huge jump at that point. So for somebody who's maybe like you, who's maybe a little bit more in the 80s, moving more efficiently gets you miles per hour, whether you're the highest level of elite athlete or you're just a guy who's looking to kind of play in college with some of your buddies. There's a wide range of value that you can get from being able to move more efficiently. So before we break down Logan's posture, I want to quickly show you what we want the body to actually look like. So this is your ideal posture. You have 8 load-bearing joints. You have 2 shoulders, 2 hips, 2 knees, and 2 ankles. And we want these all to be vertically aligned on top of one another, whether you're looking from your front or from your side. So not only do we want this vertical alignment, we also want horizontal alignment. So you don't want one shoulder or hip to be higher than the other. We need to create 90-degree angles at these joints. So now that we have an idea of what we want the body to look like, let's flip over to Logan's first set of photos when he entered the program and take a look at those. So this is Logan's first set of pictures. And the first thing that you're going to notice right away is there is not vertical alignment out of his body. It's kind of shifted off to the right, where that line in the back view is not running down the middle of his back. It's way more on the left side. You'll also notice that the head kind of pulls off to the left side with it. There's not equal spacing between this line and both of his legs here. It actually intersects a little bit of his right leg on the way up. In this back view, you're able to see that his left hip sits a little bit higher than his right, and it's partially contributing to this difference in his spine right here. Moving a little bit more into his legs, looking particularly at the angle of his kneecap, you can see that both femurs or knees kind of point out away from the camera, but this right one even more so. So if you look at the inside of his knee right here and this kind of bowing out that you get, it's more exaggerated on this right side because the femur over here is more externally rotated. And for him, that's because he's got a lot of tightness up here in this hip with the way that it's positioned in his hip socket, which makes it harder for him to efficiently load this hip. So one thing you'll notice that when we flip over to his comparison photos is this is going to be in a lot better position, which allows him to load his back hip better, which then leads to more efficiency going down the mound and partly why he is increasing his velo as much as he is. Outside of that, in these back views, we've also got a little bit of foot pronation where he's kind of standing a little bit more on the inside of his foot. Moving into these side views, you're going to notice that there's a difference between how far forward of the line he is on the left side and the right. So there's really not a whole lot of his hamstring behind the line on either one of these. The knee is pushed forward of the ankle. This left hip, the hip is over top of the knee. For the most part, it's in a slight bit of flexion with the knee being forward of this, but this right hip is pushed forward of the knee. So it's in a little bit more of an extended position. We want these shoulders and the ear to be on the green line. So we need to work on getting his shoulder blade or his scap to retract back towards the spine and increase that T-spine extension, which will only help him move more efficiently. Outside of that, nitpicking here a little bit, because of this difference in what's going on at his hip and the angles that these are taking, you can actually see a little bit of his left knee and shin over here because it's pushing forward. So let's flip over to a comparison photo where we're actually going to see a little bit better what's going on. So this is about that 5-week comparison point for Logan, where he was sitting 93 in the beginning to now sitting 95 and pulling down that 104. So you're able to see right away that his shoulders are way more over top of his hips. That green line is running through his belly button, his sternum, and his nose, which is exactly where we need it. These kneecaps are pointed a little bit more medial or neutral, kind of pointed more towards the camera right here. So this looks really good and is exactly what we need to have happen. Same thing on this back view. You're able to see this left hip still a little bit elevated, but not as extreme. Lines going through the middle of his spine all the way up the back. There's also more equal spacing from the legs over here. These feet also don't look to be as pronated, so not standing as much on the inside of his foot, which helps him load that hip a little bit better. This left side profile, not a drastic amount of change here. We got this shoulder to pull back a little bit. We're in a more erect position up here in the upper back. But this right side, you're going to see this shoulder get pulled back. And for him being a right-handed thrower, we need this shoulder blade to retract to be able to create that scap load. And this is why he's able to do that. We see a little bit more of this left knee and shin over here. Not too big of a concern because of the other changes that we're creating. So now let's flip over to what he's finally looking like with where we're at today. Okay, so here's the final comparison that we have for Logan right now. This line splitting halfway between his heels, running straight up. The head shifted off to the right a little bit, but we've got really equal space in between the legs here. We're improving that position. The hands are more level. This right kneecap in particular points way straighter ahead towards the camera. So this right here is a huge change for Logan and the ability to load his hip. Back view, running same thing, still a little bit more through the middle of the spine. Feet are pointed straighter ahead. Moving down into these side views, we're able to see that this shoulder has really changed in the position that it's at. We've got a more straight up and down back here. We're in better extension of that upper back position. This knee is still forward of the ankle a little bit. We're going to continue to work on that with him, but seeing some improvement up here in that back and hip position. And this right side has really changed. So this shoulder is exactly where we need it to be. Can maybe be a little bit further back, but this right here is why he can efficiently load that scap now and create that transfer from the ground all the way up. If you're someone who's looking to decrease the amount of pain that you experience, move more efficiently, increase your velocity, whatever athletic goal you have, this program can help you. Your body has everything that it needs to be successful right now. You just have to put it in the position to be successful. You need your body to work for you, not against you. It's all about the body that you take into the activity. So if this program sounds like it's something of interest to you, where you want to improve your athletic ability and you understand that your body has everything that it needs inside, you just need to be told what to do to unlock it, this program's for you. Comment, follow, DM, do something to get my attention. We'll set up a time to talk, go over your situation and how this program can help you to start achieving the dreams and goals that you've set out for yourself.